Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us of this lunchtime. We've got personal branding. I'm Sally Penni. I was answering a call from a solicitor. Those of you solicitors will know when you phone your counsel, you expect them to join you. So I'm just trying to find our guest speaker. There, this is Janine, our guest speaker. Lovely to see you, Janine.
All right, so hi everybody. It is lovely to be here with you this afternoon. So some of you already have come across me before. For those of you who haven't, my name is Janine Esbrand, as Sally said, and I am a legal counsel for a startup. I work part-time for a startup that focuses on professional development solutions, and I am also a career and executive coach. So my focus really is helping people to figure out how they can best leverage their existing skills, their expertise, so that they can get noticed in either what it is they want to move into or in the role that they're in. So I know that everyone in here are either lawyers or aspiring lawyers. So today I just really want to give you some tips about personal branding, and firstly talk to you about why having a personal brand is important, and then secondly we'll touch on how do you go about building your personal brand. Okay, if as I'm going through you have any particular questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and then we will try and touch on those towards the end. So just a bit about my backstory coming into law. I decided when I was quite young, about 8 years old, that I wanted to be a lawyer based on feedback from my mum, who said I was quite argumentative and that I had an answer for everything. So she said, you should be a lawyer. So I kind of ran with that, and I came across Ally McBeal, Law and Order, and thought, this is amazing. They gave me a view of what being a lawyer would be like, and I thought, fantastic. So I followed the path and did what I needed to do to qualify as a lawyer. As the first lawyer in my family, I didn't really know anybody who was a lawyer, so I had to kind of figure it out on my own in terms of getting a training contract and qualifying, and then once qualifying, actually getting established as a solicitor in my own right. And what I realized was my focus was so much on I want to qualify, that once I qualified, I was like, what now? What happens now? Because the ultimate goal for most lawyers is I want to become a partner. But when you start off as a junior lawyer, you're very much focused on, okay, get my head down, do the work, do what people ask me to do. But as you progress through the ranks, the people that do get the promotions and the people that are made partner are those that are able to bring business into the firm. So if you've gone into your legal career and your focus is, I just want to get good on the technical things, I just want to develop my technical skills as a lawyer, but you don't focus on the business development side of things or your personal brand, then as you increase in seniority, you'll recognize that actually I don't have all of the skills that I need in order for me to reach my career goals. So I want to talk to you now about like 3 main reasons why you really should be thinking about your personal brand, regardless of where you are in your career. So some of you on here are students, some of you have already started, some of you are more senior, but at whichever point of your career you're at, thinking about how do I build my personal brand is important. And when I'm talking about personal brand, what I really mean is, there's a really good quote that was, I think it's Jeff Bezos who said it, like, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So if you think of, like Sally mentioned just now, she said Starbucks. If someone says Starbucks, what do you think of? If someone says Apple, what do you think of? Right? So the brand is really, it's not about, okay, I need to have a website or I need to have a logo with my name on it. It's about what message are you putting out in the world in terms of how you show up, what value you bring, who you are as a person, that people will talk about when you're not in the room. So I want to ask a question. If I was to say to you, can you name like one lawyer, who would come to mind? If I just said a lawyer that you know of who not necessarily works in your firm or in your immediate circle, is there a lawyer that comes to mind when I say, can you name somebody? You can type it in the chat. Chrissy Wolf. That's a really good one, Rihanna. I've actually got her name down on my Sally. Yep, absolutely. I've got Eve Cornell. Okay, I'm not familiar with her. Fatu. Okay, yep. Sally. All right, fantastic. So you've given a few names. Chrissy Wolf, that's the only one I know. That's really interesting, Megan. Why is it, do you think, that the only lawyer that you know that comes to mind is Chrissy Wolf? Amanda, yep. Okay, so some of the names that you guys have put on here, I know of these people myself. Chrissy Wolf is a really good example, and the reason why is because she's built a personal brand. So she is a lawyer who struggled to qualify initially, but she's built a brand because she has a YouTube channel and she talks about her journey into law, and she shares tips about how other people can get into law. She has different things that she stands for, but she's vocal about those things. So when I'm saying to you, who can you think of? She comes to mind because she's very present on social media, and she is somebody who is outwardly talking about her journey, right? So the fact that you've got like maybe 3 or 4 people that have mentioned her. So clearly her personal brand is working, because when she's not in the room, she's not on this Zoom, people are mentioning her name, right? So that's a really good example. And we said Sally, and we said various other people. And the reason why you know these lawyers is because outside of their professional setting, they are becoming known, right? And so the reason why it's important for you to think about it is Sally or Chrissy or any of the other lawyers that Amanda, anyone who you've mentioned, they're not known by others outside of their immediate circle by accident. It's not like someone just decided, oh yeah, I'm just going to say her name. Like, they're known because they have been intentional about getting out there and sharing whatever message it is that they have, or whatever it is that they're passionate about. So for each and every one of you, it's possible for you to develop a personal brand. And when I say that, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, well, I don't want to start a YouTube channel. I don't want to be all over the place. You don't necessarily have to start a YouTube channel, or you don't necessarily have to be showing up everywhere, but you do have to be thinking about, who do I want to get in front of? Who do I want to be saying my name? That could be internally, that could be within your law firm, or that could be externally. So let's talk a little bit about how that works in terms of internal and external. If you're in a law firm and you have different partners who are allocating work, and this is particularly important now that everybody is working remotely, the people who get allocated work are the ones who are known and are remembered. So if you work in a big law firm and you think that I can just get my head down and they're going to allocate work to you, yes, you'll get work, but will you get the good work? The partners who are allocating, and they have to think about, okay, you know, we've just got this transaction come in, we've just got this deal come in, who should we give it to? They're more likely to give it to the person who they remember. So if you're saying, okay, I don't necessarily want to get out there on the internet and get known by everybody, you should at least be wanting to get known within your firm. And getting known within your firm is about not just getting your head down and doing the work, but it's about being vocal about what value can you bring to your team and to your organization, or what value have you already brought to your team and your organization? What relationships can you be intentional about building? So now when we're in lockdown, it's not enough to just wait. It's not enough for you to just wait for somebody to reach out to you. You have to be intentional about saying, do you know what? Like, I haven't spoken to anyone in my team for the week. I'm going to schedule something in someone's diary to have a chat. I'm going to recommend that we have a virtual lunch date, because life is changing in terms of the way that we do work. And so we need to be able to adapt to that. One of the easiest ways for you to build your brand and get known is for you to look for ways to serve others and help. So if you're saying, well, I don't even know what I would talk about, I don't even know how I would build that relationship, ask if there's something you can help with. If you on a team meeting and you hear that a partner is saying, oh, this has been a struggle for us, or, you know, we need to get our social media going and we don't even know how to do that, and that's something you can help with, put your hand up. Because if you can be an answer to someone's problem, you will be remembered, because you went out of your way to help them. So that's like the easiest way to start if you're saying, okay, how do I get known within my organization, and how do I better build relationships with the team that I already have? And then when you move on to the external, it's about saying, okay, beyond my firm, how do I want to be known within the marketplace? So in terms of, you know, it could be by industry, it could be like your sector. So if you're going into real estate, or if you're, you know, if you're a litigation lawyer, how do you get known within those circles? So you could do things like, you could write articles, you can look at legal publications and say, well, I want to submit an article, my name is going to be attached to that. I want to do a LinkedIn live stream, my name's going to be attached to that. Or I could write an article on LinkedIn, or I could get active in making comments, or I could just go out there and look for ways that I can start connecting with people one by one who are in the industry or in the space or in the sector that I'm currently in. And then over time, this is not something that happens overnight. Over time, people get to know you for your particular area, so that when someone's saying, oh, you know, I need a real estate lawyer, like you, if you're a real estate lawyer, you could be that person that they say, oh, I know of a lawyer because I see them on LinkedIn, or they have a podcast, or they are really active on whichever platform. And then you get recommendations. So one of the really great things about getting visible is that you build authority around what it is that you do. And then you have the opportunity to get referrals. So a few of you mentioned the reason why you joined this call today is because you've seen one of my videos on LinkedIn. You've seen me talk about something else. So as you get more and more like out there, then there's more opportunities for people to see you and refer to you as that thing. So Sally said, oh, you know, Janine does personal branding, she does career change stuff. She can say like what I do because I tell people what I do. If I wasn't out there talking about the fact that I help people with career change and I help people with LinkedIn and personal branding, then I wouldn't come to mind for her when she's saying I need a speaker to fill that slot. So it's about you saying, I'm going to start taking a bit more control of my career and not be passive and just wait for opportunities to come my way, but I'm really going to go out there and put myself out there for the thing that I stand for, or that I find interesting, or that I really want to be affiliated with. I'm going to start positioning myself as someone who knows about that topic, or someone who is interested in that topic. And like leading on from that, so that's like building authority. That's a really big piece of the puzzle, like the reason why you would want to start building your personal brand. People come to see you as someone who knows what they're talking about in that particular area. And then the second thing is you get the opportunity to attract opportunities. So when you are out there and you are talking about what it is that you do and what expertise that you have, you will either be able to attract job opportunities, or you'll be able to attract client opportunities. So as I mentioned before, as you climb in your career, one of the things that you want to be able to do is business development, to bring in business. If you're a solicitor or if you're a barrister, you have to be bringing in business. So if you're out there, you have more opportunity for people to come to you and say, hey, I need a lawyer who can do this. Can you help me? As opposed to you always doing the outreach. So I want to share with you a quick story as to how this can work, and like why it's so important in terms of being consistent and getting out there. So I talk a lot about LinkedIn and the power of it. Earlier on this year, I was working as a consultant lawyer. So I was running my coaching practice and also consulting, and I've been doing that for the last few years. And I got a message in my inbox on LinkedIn from a company who basically said they saw my profile, they loved the fact that I'm a lawyer but also a coach, and they are in the professional development space. They would love to speak to me about an opportunity. So I was like, okay, this sounds great. Like if I can blend law and coaching, that would be fantastic. So I had a conversation, and that led to another conversation. And within a month, I was offered a role as part-time legal counsel for the startup that I'm working for now. So I landed a role that I wasn't really looking for, but it was actually like a perfect opportunity. I said to myself, I'm not going to become an employee again unless it's like an amazing opportunity. So I went from being a consultant to an employee only because this opportunity was literally like perfect. And in terms of me standing out as a candidate, there aren't many lawyers who can say they are a lawyer and a coach. And so because I was out there on LinkedIn talking about that, it meant that this opportunity came directly to me, and I was able to land that within a month. And I didn't send an application. I didn't do an online application. I wasn't scrolling job boards. I wasn't looking for an opportunity. It came to me, right? And I'm sharing that with you because that is totally possible when you're really clear about what value do I bring to the marketplace. then the people that have the right opportunity for you, it might be a firm that has a particular, a particular interest in a certain area, and you might have had a previous career, or you might have something that you can bring to them that other candidates can't. But if you're not talking about it, how will they know? How will they know? Like, people are often really passive when it comes to, I don't really want to toot my own horn. I don't really want to come across as arrogant. I don't really want to listen. Like, when it comes to career development, that is not the time for you to be super duper modest. And most of the time when you feel like you're being arrogant and tooting your own horn too much, you're really not. Because if I post something on LinkedIn, I know that I've posted it today, but like, a handful of people are going to see it. So if I post something tomorrow, everybody is not going to see what I posted yesterday. So you have to show up more than you feel comfortable in order for you to reach the number of people that you really want to reach, in terms of like you as a person and what you can offer and the message that you want to share. Okay, so that's the second reason, attracting opportunities. And then the third reason is having the opportunity to share like your message. What are you passionate about? What is important to you? Why is it that you even got into law in the first place? Or why do you want to get into law? There's going to be reasons and motivations behind the choices that you've made. So why not talk about it? If one of the reasons why you want to get into law is because you feel like there isn't enough representation of women in the profession, then talk about that. If one of the reasons why you are passionate about it is because you can serve and help people to get justice, then talk about that. So it isn't just about like your practice area. It's also about sharing with people, what is my why? Why am I even here? Why am I even doing this? Why am I even invested in this profession? Because when you can share with people why you're doing what you're doing, people are more attracted to working with you. So long are the days where somebody, a business owner, decides, oh, I only want to work with a lawyer at the top law firm. Like, now, business owners are really interested in working with lawyers who understand them, who get them, who understand their business, who understand their struggles. So if you can show that you're relatable, you're more likely to get business owners reaching out to you and say, like, I want to work with you. And when they're deciding between, should I go with this lawyer or this firm and this firm, when everything is equal in terms of credentials, if the background in terms of, the school that you went to, the grades that you got, if the experience is all equal, the differentiator sometimes is, do I like this person? So when they've spoken to multiple law firms and they're saying, who should we pick? It often comes down to, do you know what, let's go with that firm. I really like that person. I like what they're about. I like what they shared. We really connected when they shared the story about the time that XYZ happened. So when you're showing up as yourself and you're sharing what you're about, you're going to attract clients and people to work with you who are aligned with what you're about. And so it makes the work that you do more enjoyable, and it makes the environment in which you work with more enjoyable. So it's really a good idea for you to think about that. Like, who do I even want to work with? What kinds of clients would I want to attract? So again, it's going away from the passive and like, see what comes. And it's more like, you know what, I'm going to get out there because I can. Like, we live in the age where we didn't have opportunity to do this before. There was an opportunity for you to literally decide, you know what, I'm going to get on social media, I'm going to get on LinkedIn, and I'm going to build out a profile, and I'm going to carve out my personal brand without an advertising budget. Like, before, you would have to like take an ad out in the paper. You would have to go through so many hoops in order for you to share anything. And now you have it on your phone, you have it at your fingertips. And so it's just about you using all of the tools that we have in order for you to get to where it is you want to get to quicker. Because you can absolutely develop in your career. You can absolutely get to where you want to go by getting your head down, doing the work and networking a little bit, but you can turbocharge your results if you are intentional about saying, do you know what, I want to get known for what it is that I do. So firstly, I'm going to be good at what I do. And then secondly, I'm going to be talking about it. And I'm going to be intentional about positioning myself so that I can get in front of the types of people that I want to be working with in the longer term. So before, I'm going to talk to you now about like how you can start building your personal brand. But before I do that, does anyone have any questions about anything that I just shared?
No, it's all good. Let's crack on because we've got so many questions.
Okay, fine.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Okay. All right. So if you're saying, okay, this sounds all great, Janine, but how do I do this? How do I build a personal brand? My answer to you is start small and do or choose the platform that you're actually going to show up on. Okay, so there's no point me saying to you, okay, guys, everyone needs to go and do LinkedIn. If you're like, I don't really like LinkedIn, I don't really want to be on it. I highly recommend it. But if you're like, okay, that's not my bag, what do you like doing? Do you like writing? You're all lawyers, so I'm pretty sure that you like writing and you like reading. And so what about starting a blog? What if you were to talk about some key things that are going on in your industry that you want to share your perspective on it? Or if you like talking like I do, start a podcast. I have a podcast, and it's amazing how many people I've met through my podcast. So I'll give you one quick story from that. I interviewed someone for the podcast 2 years ago. Her name's Stephanie Dillon. She's amazing. And last year, she was launching a program called Reignite Academy, which is for lawyers who have taken a career break that want to get back into the profession. And because we had that initial connection and we stayed in touch over time, she reached out to me and said, we're looking for another coach to join. Would you like to join? So I am now a coach on the Reignite Academy because of a conversation that I had with her on my podcast. Now, when we first did that interview, I had no idea that that first connection would turn into a relationship that would then turn into an opportunity, but it did. So if you're saying, I like speaking and I like talking about topics, you could team up with a friend, or you could do it on your own, and you could start a podcast and you could talk about topics on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And over time, you then have a body of work. Like if someone asks you a question about something, you can refer them to your podcast. And do you know how much authority that has when you're like, oh yeah, I did a podcast episode about that. It's like, oh, she's done a podcast. She knows her stuff. Like, it can be super easy to just record yourself and upload a podcast. So you could do that. You could commit to doing a YouTube channel, or you could do videos. Or if you didn't want to do any of that, if you didn't want to start your own platform, you could just commit to getting active on other people's platforms. So you could say, I don't really want to start my own thing, but I could commit to going on LinkedIn and starting to comment on other people's stuff and get really active in my particular area so that my name gets known, because I'm someone who shows up and leaves comments and encourages others on the platform. So if you're like, I don't really know about this, that's like the easiest way to get started. Just get active and start commenting on what other people in your space are doing, and start making connections, because then you get known through the connections and relationships that you're building. So those are my tips in terms of getting started.
Well, let's go back to the big screen. Can we do a massive round of applause, please? We're all blown away. Everyone's still got the mics off. I think I've probably reverted to barristorial mode when I was talking about the mics, didn't I? Sorry, everyone. Well, I'm not sorry. It just means you could actually hear the presentation rather than me. That was awesome. I'm going to put you back on the big screen. I've done this screen so we can actually all feel like, we're in a room together instead of some creepy dark space all over the country. Janine, that was awesome.